We were born in Wilmington, North Carolina. And we lived in a laundry. We practically grew up in the laundry till we were 9 and 10 years old, and then we went back to China.
The laundry was on 3rd Street. And there was, seems like the laundry in the front had one of those signs, you know, on the laundry. And it's funny that that sign, when the wind blows, it flip-flap, flip-flap a lot of times too.
See how much attention she pays to. Well, our mom never quit working. Every day she just worked in the laundry.
Yeah, because my father died when I was 3 years old, and I don't even remember him.
If you were 3, I was 4.5, and I still don't remember him. I don't even know what he looks like.
And I don't think even my mother had a chance to even see him when he died. He died in New York because they had to take him to the hospital there. So I don't think she even, you know, saw him when he died or anything, because we were so young. She had to stay home with us. And he was buried in New York someplace that we don't even know where he was buried at.
Well, I still remember just playing around in the laundry with those great big wash machines, and I don't think we had a dryer, but yeah, we were playing in those great big old wash machines, and we had a dog, black dog at that time too, and that dog was really a friendly dog, you know, and we had him for a long time. I can't remember what happened to him. Well, I guess when we left for China, we just left him there.
Yeah, we couldn't bring him, so we had to leave him there. And at that time, my brother was, you know, pretty old. He's like a father to us. He takes us every place, you know, like church and all those places. He'd take us. And we didn't have a car, but at that time, and he just borrow, I think, our uncle's car or something like that. He drives one of those cars, and it was really like it had a step on to get in the car, you know, those old-fashioned cars. I remember him taking us, you know.
Taking us down to the beach where we fished those little crabs. And then take us to the restaurant. And that's the only restaurant we've ever been to. It was some relative restaurant, and we knew them too. So those are 2 places that we ever went to, I think. I don't think we went anywhere. Didn't have any money, didn't have a car, had no transportation, and wherever we did go in town, we were walking, and it wasn't a very big town then, though.
No.
It was very small and very old.
And the street cars run right in front of the laundry, and yep, we pick up those little Coke bottle tops and put it on the track. So he says, "Oh, this is money." When it runs over it, it's flat.
We didn't ever have any toys either. We never had a toy to play with.
Yeah, one doll my mother bought. I think it's one doll. And I think we took it back to China, I think.
Yeah, we just picked up stuff. I don't know how I got a bike too, because at that time it was really expensive. And I don't know how I had a bike.
The bike probably was, our brother probably bought it.
Maybe.
And using it, you know.
But when I had the bike, I would go all over. And you would stay home.
Yeah, I stay home a lot. I don't even remember going to the schools.
No, I don't either.
That's one thing. I just don't remember going to the schools. But I know we did go to school.
We had to go to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what school we went to either. But I do remember going to church, though.
Every Sunday we go to church.
I remember going to church, but not school. But I do remember coming home eating sweet potatoes. Mom would cook them on these little burners, and it was on coal. And I still don't remember how we had dinner either. You know, cooking. Where did she cook dinner for us?
I don't know. I don't remember dinner either. But I remember there's a chicken, they sell chicken across the street. She always buy one every week across the street. And
yeah, I can't remember that either, but anyway, I'm sure she took good care of us. Whatever money she had, and I think she was pretty careful with her money to be able to save some to take us back to China, because that, for 4 of us, the ticket to go back to China, that cost quite a bit of money. So she managed to do that, so she...
Yeah, she managed to take us all back, and we were on a boat for a month, wasn't it? Almost a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember going through the channel where Japan was at, and somebody said, "We're turning off all the lights. Everybody be quiet. We don't try to go through there real quietly so they wouldn't come on ship to check us, you know."
I think they have more or less like a, you know, something to tell you to try to be careful. And then I was telling my mom, I said, they having this, hearing all this ringing, the ship is sinking, the ship is sinking. So she said, you know, I was, because that's what it was, like they give you one of these warnings, you know, for you to know sometimes that, and I scare my mother. I said, the ship is sinking.
I remember we had to get off at San Francisco too. And I remember running down the stairways from this hotel. I don't know where we were going, but I remember just running down these stairs in San Francisco. I think we overstopped there before we went all the way to China. And then we stayed in Shanghai for a couple of months, I think, on our way home.
Yeah, we did
stay with Uncle Frank. And
which is our 5th uncle. My mother was the 3rd, and
that's where we made chung sam.
Yeah.
We had those chung sam for a long time. Both of us were just alike.
Yeah.
I remember Tan Gua, you know. And he was with us. He was very good to us too. I can't remember where. Oh, our brother was with us too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
all our little cousins were real little, just like us.
Yeah. There was 5, my grandmother had 5 boys and 2 girls. So we had like first 1 and 2, and my mother's the 3rd. And then we had a 4th one, and the 5th one was the one in Shanghai. I don't know how he came over the United States and got a scholarship. And he had come over going to school before he went back to Shanghai.
Is that Uncle Frank?
And when the communists took over, they took him and had him in prison for 20 years. And before the daughters brought him over here. And our aunt came before him to the U.S. And then she, somehow or another, one day she was out walking around, she got ran over by a car.
Yeah.
But Uncle Frank lived till he was 103 years old. And we saw him twice. He came to see us twice. One time my aunt was with us. I think both times she was with him, but we saw him both twice. And then when they went back to Canada, that's when she ran into the accident and died.
She still have children. One of them is marry somebody as a priest or something like
That's
that.
Ellen. She's the one that's on a mission all the time for the church. A missionary goes to different places, but they're all engineer degrees. But she's the only one that goes on mission, preaches the word of Christ.
And we don't really know, the others that well, because she had come over to our house and, we had seen her a few times, but the other, she has 5 sisters.
6 girls.
All
girls.
5 girls. It's funny that I would say her mother had 5 girls, and she's the 5th one. And I says, my mother only has 2, which is number 3. How come she didn't have another one? And my 4th one has 4 girls and 1 boy.
Well, Ellen came to Raymond one time. You were there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellen came to Raymond and visit us. But the other girls, we don't know them anymore. We only probably saw them once when we went back to China. That's the only time we saw them.
Yeah.
But I get letters from Ellen once in a while, but they're always gone in different countries so lately I haven't heard from her, but anyway, I do keep in touch with her.
How old is she?
She's probably maybe a couple years younger than me. And
I think she's quite young, isn't she? I think it's
maybe she's your age. I think she's probably your age, yeah. Well, these kids, we're all a year and a half apart. all these girls, you know, and they're probably about the same age as we are.
Yeah. She went back to China when she was about 7. You stayed in China not too long, did you?
Well, we went back in 1935. I got married in 1941. And Lee came back here right after we got married because all the transportation, everything was closed for 6 years. And I was stuck there for 6 years without being able to come back here. And so I came back on the second ship that was allowed to come. The first one was completely full, and I couldn't get back here till the second one. And I came back in, I think it was November 16th, 1946, I came back. And you came back quite a few years later.
Yeah, I didn't come back until I got married because I was in China for, for a long time. Then I was going to school, and my mother says, I don't have money for you to go to school. So I says, okay, I'm going to ask my sister to give me some money so I could go to school. So she sent me some money, so I started school. But my mother says, I don't have any more to support you. I says, that's okay. I'll try and see what I could do. So I went back to China and I started school with what she gave me just to start. So, but I got a scholarship, so I didn't need to pay. So that's how I went through school. And
Well, she was lucky to continue to go to school.
Yeah.
I got married when I was 17.
so I had gone to school until Dad had gone back and tried to look for a girl. And with his mother, they were looking, with one of my aunts was married into their village. And so my aunt tried to introduce me to him. Then my mother says, there was Lee sent back 2 guys in Seattle to meet me too, over there. They went over and was meeting, I saw them too. They're trying to, match me up with them. Then Dad, with my aunt trying to match me with, with Dad, and so, we're right there was kind of interesting. My mother says the boys in Seattle didn't have fathers, so their background is, it's going to be hard to start. Then then my aunt says, well, trying to match him, and my mother says, oh, he doesn't have a father either, so it's pretty hard, So my mother didn't want me to marry either one of them. But my aunt keeps doing that. Then my aunt went to the school where I was going to school, and his, grandma taking all this material, trying to, get me to marry him. So
I guess it worked.
it was my aunt that did it. My mother didn't want me to marry him because he didn't have a father. So So
Well,
they can match me up and trying to. For my aunt says he's good. He went to service and all this, you know. So we finally got married.
Where was the wedding?
In China. So we got married, and then, you know, he was going to bring us all back, you know, here. So we came back, and well, on our way back, and you know, they all have to stop at the Angel Island because he was bringing me back as a war bride. So we have to go there. And when I got in San Francisco, I had my not my birth certificate, my baptized thing. And the guy says, "You don't need to go through there. You just go because you're a citizen." So I just, you know, I got through real easy. But, you know, Grandma had to stay there for a few months before she could get here.
Well, when Lee went back to China, he wanted to make sure that he would want a girl to marry that was born over here in America. And in China, there's no girl that's born in America, but us two. So anyway, we go to school and past his village every day, and then his sister-in-law would be out there watching me every day going by. And then finally one day he asked my mom if he could take me to lunch on the first date. That's the only date we had, the only time I met him. So anyway, I don't know, I guess I got so nervous I don't even remember if I ate anything or not. But anyway, we had that first date, and so I think it was only about 6 months or so we got married. And that's the only time I saw him. And once we got married, we never had to work before we got married. Our mom, we didn't have to do anything. When I went back to China and married him, I had to didn't even know what I was doing, didn't even know how to do things. And so we were building a new house right then too. So we lived in this little cabin until the new house was built. And then I know one day I was so tired living in this house in there, and Lee would be out still working with the people out in the new house, and then I was so tired and sleepy, he couldn't get in. He couldn't get in. He was so mad at me for days, you know. But anyway, that scared me too, you know. And then all the, you know, back there you have no money back there. You got to work in the field. You got to do whatever you can to survive. And I had to learn to go in the field, to learn how to plant rice, how to weed rice, how to cut rice, how to get the skin off of rice, how to learn all that. And then I remember going back when we had to plant potatoes and vegetables and stuff. We had to travel maybe 20 miles, and we had to walk and carry all this fertilizer with her to keep it going. I remember all that too. But I would rather go out and work than to stay home though, but my in-laws weren't very nice. So anyway, but that was hard work when you never done any of that hard work, and people couldn't believe I could do it because being born in America, coming home doing all that, and fetching water to cook dinner, and I didn't have to cook, but I have to push fire to be able to cook. And so I didn't want to do all that thing, so I'd rather go out and work in the fields instead of being home. But if you didn't do anything, you'd be lazy, you know, so you just had to keep doing something. And for 6 years, after being married, he was gone. I had to live with his mother, his sister-in-law, two of them, to please them, because I was the youngest and I had to cater to them. And when 6 years is up and I had a chance to come back to America, I went to Kowloon, and there was two other guys that went back to China to get married, but they stayed because they had money, and Lee didn't have money, so he left right away. And so I came back with the guys that he went home with. But on their way home, they got robbed. The pirates robbed them, and they didn't have any money. They even robbed them of their clothes and everything. So they didn't have anything. But one guy, he hid $400 in his shoes. And then at that time, things weren't very expensive, but he bought 4 suits for each of these guys. I was often wondering when I saw that picture, how come each one of them, they all had white suits on, white shoes and white suit. So that's where those suits came from. But they all stayed home, and they all had kids, and he left, and so I came back with them. So those are the people I came back with. And I don't even know how I got back. I didn't have paper, I guess. I don't know. I don't even remember going into interrogation or anything. I just came back.
See, I stayed in China longer than her. So I work in the field with my mom. So I go in the field and help her and do all this work and go in the field, and you stick, you know, how plant rice and all that there, and you get these leeches on you. Oh boy, they suck your blood. I always take a little salt and put it on, and they run away.
I just forget about those. I just get up on the ground and then shove them off with the shovel, and
it was hard work there, though. But I stayed there for quite some time before, you know, just going to like school in the village up to about, you know, they only have 5th grade.
6th grade.
6th grade or something like that.
We went to Ganji and went to special classes there.
Yeah, because just to learn the Chinese, because you know the arithmetic we know because we had it here and everything. So
I know we were advancing grades. We would go 2 or 3 grades at a time. Remember that?
Yeah, trying to the language, you know, the Chinese, going to Chinese school. So that's how, you know, after 6th grade, then my mother, you know, kind of, I don't have any money for you to go to high school. You can't go. And that's how we started, you know. And I said, I'm going to ask my sister to send me some money to start. So she sent me a little money, and I just started school there, and I thought, well, if I can't handle it, you know, I have to do something else. So started school there, and then I passed, you know, pretty good grades and everything, so I got a scholarship, and I didn't need to pay to go to college. So I was pretty good there. So then we stayed in a, you know, not in the village, which we had to go to school into a town, like a city. So we walk like every weekend we come home, we have to walk. It's like maybe an hour walk. We walk home and then we walk back again, like, you know, Sunday night, and go to school there. And I lived, this lady, you know, somehow, I don't know how she had a laundry, and she never lives in the house, so she let me stay there in that house to go to school there in the village, in the city.
Did you live there by yourself?
Yeah, I stay there by myself. Then I have to cook, you know, the rice and things like that for myself there for a while.
What was the name of the city?
Good yet.
Yeah, Gung Yat. I don't know if you know that or not, but yeah, I try to go back to see her because she's at the laundry, you know, last time, and I remember seeing her just a really short time. I didn't have the time. Otherwise, I would, you know, give her something, you know, to thank her for, you know, letting me stay in there. But,
That's what I did when I went to Kowloon after I left China to come back to America. I could have gone back to the village, but I didn't want to. So I stayed with this person. She was a salesperson, but I still don't remember staying. I remember staying with her, but these other guys were there too that was coming back with me, and they always took me out to dinner, and I didn't have any money at all. I don't even know how I survived the couple of months that I stayed there. But I think Lee must have gave them information to take care of me before I got back here. I just think that because I sure never had any money. But, well, go back. Now we're going backwards. Now I'm back in China when the Japanese came in probably 1943 or something like that, you know. The Japanese would come into the village and hassle all these young people. And then I had lived with my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law would take her kids and go up to the mountain to live with friends, you know, away from close to the cities where the Japanese would invade. So I remember one night, some of them we had this new home and had iron shutters on the window, and they'd be banging on these windows, and it scared me to death. And some neighbor during the night would take me up to the mountains where my in-law was at. And then all these guns were shooting at us, you know, and we were dodging at night to run through the fields to get there. But we got there and left my mother-in-law only there. These old women, they would leave them alone, but they, you know, these other younger people, all these soldiers would harass them, you know. So I took off in the middle of the night to get away from that, but it didn't last very long, but that one night really scared us all. They come and they come to the houses to see if you got guns or anything hidden, and they want to take it away from you. But I guess Lee's mom had a gun, and I guess they gave it to him, and that's all it was. But they came banging on these iron windows, and you don't know if they're going to come in or they're going to just leave you alone. But I did leave that night to go to the mountains.
She was in their village. I was home, and the Japanese was coming through, and my mom sent me up to where my grandfather was, way up to the mountains, because he lives up there. So I went up there, and my mom, she stayed home. And then she, you know, they were harassing her because she came back from the United States, said she had money. So what she did, she dug, you know, the bricks, like those bricks, she digged up the brick and put all her money and everything in there and covered it up. Then she stayed home, but you know, when they coming through, she sent us all up. But at first she, you know, was kind of afraid that you know, they're gonna come and said she came from the United States and have money. So but she stayed around. But after they left, then we came back home. And
Yeah, they wouldn't bother the older people, but the younger people, they
Yeah.
would, you know.
so, yeah, they came through the village.
Yeah, I know they're banging on the windows and really scared me that time.
It was pretty bad at that time. So,
Well, we thought living in China, living in America was hard work, but if you've been to China, living in America is not hard work. Nothing is harder than being out in the fields, out in the cold and water, wet, and hot weather, digging in the fields to
then you have to go
grow rice.
cut all that grass and feed it to cook the rice.
I even went to, I even walked about 10, 15 miles with a group of people to buy oil and sugar. You couldn't buy it in the newer towns because it was so rational, nothing, you couldn't buy anything.
Yeah.
You didn't do that, but I did.
Yeah, you did it, but we plant most of our things, and you know.
Not oil and sugar though.
No, but you know, you don't use that much oil at home, and so I guess, you know, we plant a lot of vegetables and, you know, our rice, and at that time, you know, you didn't have that much rice, so you had to make like juk, you know, rice, and that to eat on. But I remember some of the people there, it was really bad. Like one of the neighbors, you know, they had 2 kids. The mother died, the father died, and, you know, the kids were pretty young. And, you know, the sister, she had a sister, but the sister married out and didn't take care of, you know, the brother or sister, so they had to try to, you know, plant rice and eat on their own. They were pretty young. So they were starving, and when they had the rice planted and got all the rice and eat, they ate too much and they just died, you know. It was terrible. People at that time.
Well, I left before that all happened.
Yeah. But good thing we, you know, had rice to just carry us through and use, you know, make juk and, you know, and stuff. Yeah. It was pretty bad time back then. Until after the war, I guess. Then.
Well, when I first came back to America, we landed in San Francisco. And then we stayed with these people. Well, the people I came back with, they knew these other people, so I stayed with them. And then I think we caught a train back to Aberdeen. And then Lee was waiting for me there. And I guess we caught a bus that went back to Raymond. He didn't have any money either. So, and I remember living in an apartment. I don't know how long we lived in an apartment. No, I think we lived in a hotel first, and then we rented an apartment. And then finally, I guess in a year or so, we bought a house that was over water, kind of stilt house, over water, and that was bad too. But anyway, when you don't have money, you do what you can. So, and then all I did was the first thing to go to the restaurant, and they showed me every little tiny thing how to do, And I thought, oh my goodness, is this what life is going to be for me? But anyway, it wasn't hard for me to learn, but they thought I was pretty not knowing what to do. And I remember Lee showing me how to make hamburgers, how to cook it, what do you put on it when they ask you, and how to cook bread or veal, how to cook pork chops, and make it look nice so the people would like it, and make sure it was hot. And that wasn't so bad. But anyway, when I had to come to be a butcher also, that was worse. When your dad talks about being a butcher, I could tell him I could do that too. So anyway, I did a lot of things, but I learned a lot too. But, and long hours never ends in a restaurant. Work never is done. But still not as bad as China. She had it a little bit easier than me.
Not that easy, but I think we, worked pretty hard in the fields, and we managed to get by. But, after I guess I stayed about, about 10 years in China.
Oh, you had to stay longer than that, because I was there 6 years, and it was 6 years before I got married. You must have stayed there about 15 years.
After the war.
Oh, after the war, yeah, after the war.
Because when he went back, when we got married, then we stayed in the village not too long, in his village. Then, when you get married, then, you had to, they had to take me in one of those, like a bamboo thing, over to the village. So that's how, when we got married, that's how we do. I have to go to their village.
And a whole bunch of people carrying all your goods with you.
Yeah, then they had a big party out, like that out there when we got married. Yeah. Boy, that was something. Then right after that, we didn't stay there that long, but then we came out to, I think, Hong Kong, and we stayed in Hong Kong. Yeah, I think my mother was there.
I think our mother was the first one to leave the village to go to Hong Kong.
Yeah,
she was the first one to go there.
Uh-huh. Because I remember I didn't feel that good, and we had to stay in a hotel. It was a motel, just a room like, and I didn't feel good. I was going to go back and lay down for a little while, And my mother, you know, she stayed out the doorway. She wouldn't even come in the room. She stayed out in the doorway. She was worried about me. She stayed there. Until I came out. She was out there. I says, "Why didn't you come in?" She says, "No, I don't want to bother you." And she stayed out there, you know, out the front door, and stayed out there and waited for me. It's odd. Was that worry. And so.
I remember I never had a car for 13 years. And we lived in such a small town, everything was walking distance. And probably 4 or 5 blocks from where we lived, and you could walk, you know. I remember this old Cadillac we bought, a black Cadillac. I think he bought it secondhand from some guy. That's how I learned to drive.
I taught her how to drive.
Yeah, I remember that. And then when I first learned to drive, that was that black Cadillac, and I drove to Aberdeen. Well, I had got my license already then, but then Lee would say, "Well, why don't you let me drive?" And because there's nobody around and the roads are pretty straight, let me see if I can drive, you know. He told me he knows how to drive, and he didn't keep up with his license, but I don't know. But anyway, he wanted to drive. And as soon as we got out of the town on the railroad track, the police came up. And I don't know, he wasn't driving very straight, I guess, and he said, "Well, where's your license?" And I said, "Well, his mother just passed away," which is true. And I said, "He probably forgot it. I don't think he has it." He said he didn't have it. And I said, "But that's probably why he didn't have it, because he's worried about his mom passed away and all that, you know." He said, "Well, anyway, maybe you better take over and drive then." So that was another crazy incident.
Oh, boy.
And he never did drive after that.
But I start driving when I came back here. I start trying to. Gladys's brother taught me how to drive, and it was one of these shift things and everything. He taught me how to drive, so then I start getting my driver's license. That's how. Then I bought then I went to at first, when I came over, Grandma kept telling me, "You gotta go to work." So she wanted me to go to work with one of her friends that had a cafe or something for me to be a waitress. But then I didn't want to do that. So I says, "No, I'm going to go to school first." So I was trying to go to school, and first job I got, because I knew how to type, I worked at DMV, and it was a night shift. So I worked at DMV and the night shift. Then I going to school at daytime. I pick up lunch on my way and go to school and come back, and it's like day and night I'm gone. And but Grandma stayed with Gladys, and I always go back at nighttime. But so that's how I start working. So I went to DMV and worked night shift there. Then usually I take the bus home, but we're living on V Street there. So I would take the bus, and at that time, you're not afraid to walk through the park. But then Uncle Tim, he started, he knew I was working like that, and he's always up. So he one day he just picked me up, you know, start picking me up and bringing me home at midnights. And that's how I started. I started with the state until, you know, then I was pregnant to have Vernon. Then I quit at DMV. Then after Vernon was born, I started working with the state controllers. That's how all these years I was with them. Yeah. I started with state controllers, you know, when like he was born in 1950, Vernon's born in 1951, and so I started working with with state controllers, so I've been working all these years with them. I worked 40 years with them, and they wanted me to work some more. And I said, I'm not worth staying here 40 years and having my retirement the same amount I'm sitting here. So I said, I'm going to retire. So I retire, and they says, okay, you could come back and work as a retired annuitant. So that's how I went back and start working with them again until another 10 years. So I worked a long time with them. At that time was good because we was buying a house and everything, and I had my regular full-time retirement and my plus my other job. So that's how we start buying this house. Then we had a good down payment on this house, and then we had a house in Hong Kong, and we sold that house with her. And because she had double in it because her mother-in-law was living there and my mother was living there. So I paid just part of that, and so she had the 2 shares, I had the 2 shares. We sold that, and we paid up the house.
Well, she made more money than I did, and then working in a restaurant. You work more hours and less money, but you work longer hours than she did. I must have worked there for 46 years before I moved up Seattle. Yeah, we used to work 7 days a week for a good 40 years. And then the last few years we decided to close one day, and that's where we bought the house up in Seattle. And then I drive in the morning, come and go back at night and open up the next day again. So after a while, then you start driving at night, and I got too tired. So we'd stay overnight, then I'd leave in the morning. But that would get me tired for working the day. So we had to close 2 days. So then, at that time, it's a small town, and other people start opening up business there, and there's a lot of competition. So we decided to sell it and then just move back up here. Thought it would be easier, but it's not bad.
Yeah, at least I worked all that and had gone back and work another 10 years. Then they call me back again, you know, to train somebody. I says, I can't keep on working like this. I'm getting too old. So I went back for another few months to train them how to do the job, and so I finally got away. Just got away about 3 years ago.
Yeah, she worked longer than I did because once I quit the restaurant, I quit. But keeping up a house is a lot of work too. The big yard and everything, and you do all that yourself. I did at least. And until the last 3-4 years, I think I slowed down a lot, and then I don't do quite as much anymore. I guess when you get 89, it's time to quit doing everything.
You get your exercise, so you got to move.
Well, I still go on the walkathons and things, you know, I still do that. Last year, the kids pushed me in a wheelchair. I didn't want to do that, but they did. So, but I'm going again this year. They still gonna push me if I go, but that's okay.
I don't know, but you don't remember you having a brother, a younger brother, do you? You do? Oh, okay. I didn't think you remembered that.
You want to talk about him?
Well, I don't know. He just died right after birth, not too long. That's. You remember that?
Not until you told me.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Lee lived, enjoyed Seattle for 10 years, maybe 11 years, and then he passed away. And then I lost a grandson a few years later. That was Bobby's son, so we've had 2 bad things happen. But otherwise, I think things are okay, good. I think I had a good life. Other than that.
Yeah.
But we like to work, though. You know, we're people that like to keep busy, and so time goes quicker when you're busy. And I like to read a lot now. I still walk.
Yep, I still keep myself busy in the garden. And try to do everything I can and move around. So stay healthy. That's about trying to do.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
Pretty good. I have 2 grandkids, twins, boy and a girl, which is keeping us pretty happy.
Well, I got 7 grandkids, 1 great-grandkid, 2-month-old great-grandchild. I didn't think I'd ever see a great-grandchild, but I got to see 3 of my grandchildren get married. And I don't know when the others will be, but I'm glad 3 of them are. So. Yeah, the kids ask me to go places, I go. I don't turn down any offering. I like to go places. Well, we're both getting older, so every year is a blessing. That's why I tell her to not work so hard. She works really hard, and I don't now. And if I'm alone, I wake up early, but I don't get up early. But she still gets up early, and she works harder than me. That's why I come in the summertime to help her with her garden. I don't know how much I can help her this year.
So she's gonna try to come summer again.
Yeah, I tell her not to plant so much. Ken plants 47 plants of tomato. And I said, you don't need but 2. And they give it all away. All the work is just too much work. You plant enough for yourself, and that's all, you know, and then you don't have to work so hard. Good thing we get along pretty good. Well, when we're working, I don't think we saw each other every year when we were all working.
Then because Mom wanted me to see if Brother's still in North Carolina or there, so when I came back, I took the bus up there.
She came to my place.
Yeah.
Your dad, your grandmother didn't know that I sent her to Wilmington. I couldn't go, but she went by herself. I wish I had gone, but I didn't. And I said, what am I going to tell if anybody calls and wonder where you are? They didn't know she was going to Wilmington.
Because they wouldn't let me go.
And so she came to my place, and then
She
sent her on the bus to go.
So I went on the bus by myself to North Carolina to see my brother. And I was glad I did, because that's the last time I saw him.
How many days was the bus ride? I don't even remember that.
It was like 5 days.
And you were only supposed to stay for 2 weeks with me.
Yeah. And so I went on the bus, and the bus had had at that time still had black to sit in the back and the white in the front. And I says, I don't know where I'd go. So I went in the back, and the bus driver came and got me and put me in the front. And I didn't think that was right, but I just did it anyhow. So I got to North Carolina, and my brother didn't know I was coming. So I was at the bus station, and I called him. I says, I'm at the bus station. So he came right away, and he just took off and didn't tell, his wife that he was going. So he took me back, and here, he had a son, Jimmy, and when I got back, and Jimmy was real small, and he kept playing with me and wanted me to play with him. And I was so tired, I was laying down, and he kept jumping on the bed.
See, I missed out on all that.
Yeah, she couldn't go because you know, she had to work, so I wish she could have, because that was the last time we saw him.
I used to remember when we come here, we wouldn't fly. We'd get on a train and come. Get on the train and come here?
Yeah, there. I didn't think there was much people fly at that time.
No, we were just riding on a train. And time was so good then. You know, you trust your kids to go on a bus by themselves, and that's what I did for them to come here. And they were only 7, 8 years old or something like that, Jackie and Mike.
And Mike came here.
And I tell the bus driver to make sure they got to Sacramento, you know. And once they got here, they didn't want to go home.
They stayed here, and Jackie had, you know, gone to Sac State for a short time. And I guess Mike didn't go to school here, huh?
No, Mike didn't. Jackie did.
Jackie did.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed here for a little while.
Yeah, you guys took him to Disneyland, and Jackie lost all her tickets or something?
Yeah. Jackie lost her tickets and everything, so they had to split it, you know, with, I guess, Mike's ticket or something, you know. So it says, oh boy, you lost yours, you don't have any more. So you got to split it, that's it.
Well, we couldn't take them any place because we had the restaurant open every day. You know, we had no time to take the kids anywhere. But when they came here, you know, they took them everywhere. They found all the joy they like, you know. And
it took them one day. We had I think it was so hot at that time they didn't have air conditioning in the car. So we rolled down the window, and I guess Dad was driving kind of fast, trying to get to a shady place. And I think he got a ticket or something.
Yeah, he was going 90 miles an hour. Yeah, I heard about that too. Well, if I didn't have them, I probably wouldn't go any place either. I wouldn't have gone all the places I've been. I thank them for taking me a lot of places, you know. Because
went to the redwoods, huh?
Yeah, my husband didn't want to go anywhere. I'd come here by myself. He wouldn't come. He came 1 year, I think, and he wouldn't want to come. So I'd come myself here. Yeah, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have gone all the places I've been to. So thank you for that.
Going to China, going back to China.
Yeah. Well, going back to China, seeing the house was so small. It looked so small to me. And the stairways looked so small. Everything looked small. And all I can remember is the upstairs. Going upstairs, and I remember the soy pang, you know, out there. So, but I
like a patio out there.
Yeah, I don't remember that house very well. But when I went back to want to see the house I married to, I couldn't get in. But what I saw through the windows, all I could see were the steps, and those steps was big because it was a later built, you know. But the one that our house was real small.
But,
and all this food they had on the table, and we didn't eat any of it.
Yeah, they had the pig and everything because of, you know, we were back there, and you didn't go at that time, huh? Was it?
Corrine went. You didn't
Corrine-
go. Yeah.
Corrine and Tom had gone back with us.
Boy, we take these pigs out in the mountain to go to see the ancestors, and it was only us going, but by the time we got the pig and all the food out there, the whole village came.
So they just chopped up the pig there and ate, they ate it all up.
They were so hungry, so hungry for good food.
Yeah. People in the village don't have to, all of that. So,
I felt bad because I didn't give any lacy to these people, One guy came up to me, he said, "I went to school with you." I said, "Oh, I don't remember, And then somebody else says, "Well, I used to go to your village. I went to your village before when you got married," and stuff like that. But why we didn't give lacy wood? We had all the $5 bills.
I did.
I had it all ready too, but we never gave anybody.
I
and
did.
One person was nice enough to call when we got to my other house, and they said, "Well, we'll call these people. They have the key. Maybe they could come and open it and you get in," but they couldn't get in. I felt really bad leaving, not give them anything, but I don't see him anymore. I didn't see him before until that day, so. And I'm sure they talked about us not being very generous. And that did bother me a little bit. Yet we had all these $5 bill lacy all
I
wrapped
gave
up.
it to our village people. I did. I gave it to the people still in the village, in our village.
You mean the second time you went, not the first time?
Yeah. I had these, you wrapped it in red paper and give them.
You give them $5 is a lot of money to them back there.
So they were really happy, everybody in our village. But I don't know, we were Grandma's village, I don't know. We didn't, because no one was, around there. So, but our village, we still have, people there. And the two boys, still there. But I think I don't know what they're doing now. But, before they write us, but I haven't heard from them so long. I don't know what's going on back there.
Well, the villagers heard no people there when we went, It seemed like there's nobody that lived there anymore. Very few people live there. Everybody's left to go to the town, cities.
Mm.
Well, it was good to go back and see the house that we used to live in. You know those people better than I do, but it was good to see, just to see the house. Well, you went back the second time. I didn't go, and you went to the house again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. They're the same there,
Mm-hmm.
and everything.
Did they do the same thing, have dinner ready and everything?
You had dinner and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Had the big pig there.
Yeah, well, at least our mom was taken back to the village to be buried again. But Lee's mom is still in Hong Kong. And so nobody goes there because nobody's there anymore.
See, my sister-in-law brought back, to the village to bury her there. And she's buried there too, right next to each other in the village there. And so when we went back, you know, they're both, I got a little headstone there that, you know, for both of them.
That was your brother's first wife.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It was interesting to go back to Wilmington and go back and visit. Well, I can't remember if you were there or not when to see my brother's grave. that was had a lot of feelings there.
Yeah. Because they took us back to North Carolina, huh?
Mm-hmm. Jimmy and Joan
Jimmy
did,
and
yeah.
Joan took us there, and his grave is still there.
Yeah, that's right. They did drive us, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think his wife, his grave was there too, but you know, she married somebody else, so I guess it's kind of a part after, you know, my brother died. She married somebody else. Yeah.
Do you remember what year it was that you went to see your brother?
No.
How old were you?
You mean the last time we went back?
I bet it's good.
How many?
That was after Lee passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, when you went to see him before he died. The last time you saw your brother.
Yeah, the first time we went, he went with us. Lee did.
No,
You
no, we're
remember, Gus?
talking about our brother. Our brother, you didn't see him, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before he died in what, 19... I don't know what year he died, because...
I think it was in the 50s, because I remember, I can't remember who called me. I don't remember who called me. It was in the 50s. I don't know why I remember that. You might have called me.
Somebody, who called, Jimmy. Did Jimmy call me? I think.
He probably did because he knew you better.
Yeah, I think he called me.
Well, at least we keep in touch with Jimmy and Joan on his side of the family, the second generation.
He called me the other day. Was it around 2 o'clock? Was you home? We talked. We had 3 ways talked about. It was on my birthday. That day he called. Then I got you on the phone, wasn't it?
No, that was a time before. He just called you to wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah, the night.
It was a couple of weeks before that.
Yeah.
Then we had 3-way talk.
Yeah, he still keep in touch with us, which is nice, you know. Doesn't she look like Bobby?
In some ways, yeah. I
When
always,
she was, you know, looking, look a little like Bobby.
I always say that. You know, and I think Natalie kind of looks like Corinne in some ways. on the sideways, you know. I've seen that in her too. But I think Natalie's got a rounder face though.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm bigger than her.
She's like,
Which one of you looks closer to your mom? Or
I think I look closer to my mom.
she's tall, my
Mhm.
mom. And I probably look
She
like
probably-
my father, probably, but I never seen him. I wished I had pictures of him, but I don't. My brother?
No, I think
No.
my brother looks like my mother too.
Too. He's tall.
Yeah, he looks more like our mother too. And
Thin
I
and
think
tall.
I do too. You remember Mom wearing all these high heels at home? Went to China with all these. She had these special shoes made, the fancy embroidery high heel shoes.
I don't remember those.
Yeah, I do. You know, a lot of people her age would be bowing feet, but she wasn't. And I remember she had pretty big feet too, you know. And she had these high heels about that high. But she didn't wear them very long. The first couple of years she did. And I'm surprised that she did. Yeah, I think she was pretty well dressed.
Yeah, she's usually,
She's pretty well dressed all the time.
she's pretty good, yeah.
And she kept us like twins all the time.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Same clothes, everything was same.
Yep, we have to be twins.
I remember her not remembering me, but she remembered you when the last time we went to China.
Well, anyhow, she says, you know, when I guess, I don't know who named me as May. Actually, my name on the paper is Mary, a birth certificate.
Oh, they didn't want any more girls. That's why they named you May.
Yeah, so then my mother says, my father says, this is the last girl. I want a boy. So she named me May, the last. Chinese mean the last girl. Then my mother got mad. She says that was the last of all.
Did you know how I signed your birthday card? Did you know how I signed your birthday card? I put an M down. She never calls me my name. Never, ever, because she wasn't supposed to. She has to call me Big Sister, but she wasn't going to do that either. So she called me
I didn't
M.
want to call her that because Mom had me call her Day all the time, and I didn't want to do that. So I called her M.
So that's what I signed a birthday card this time. I signed M on it. Yeah. I felt hurt too because she couldn't call me my name and she didn't call me Big Sister.
So, always says M.
Yeah, oh, it's always M.
My mother didn't know I was calling her that, I guess. Hey, you, M.
Well, we had a good mom, that's for sure. Our mom didn't let us do any work, anything.
She's always making us look like a little lady.
She wouldn't let us go out in the sunshine because it'd make us dark. Yeah, she didn't go anywhere either, did she? She never went anywhere.
We had the house, it was, you know, like on the bottom that people could, you know, run back and forth in. The house was, you know, sit on like woods, our house there, and, you know, the laundry.
You mean the laundry?
Yeah, it was set up like that. So the people would sleep under there sometimes, you know. In North Carolina, how they did the blacks, they won't let them go into the, to eat any place. They have to stay in the back and everything. So, you know, they're pretty bad at that time, so they sleep under the house. It was pretty bad. They treat them there like that.
Did you know the people that slept under the house?
Yeah, they're around, and they're always around there because they, like, they're, you know, want some work to do or do something. And, you know, back there they had the bathroom. They can't even go in white and black. It was pretty bad. And, you know, sometimes yourself you're wondering, well, where do I belong, you know? So it's pretty bad. Because Mom hired, you know, a black lady sometimes that, you know, help her. You know, she was pretty nice, you know. You know, it's just the way they treat them back there was bad.
Yeah, we lived in pretty bad places, didn't we?
I guess the laundry was down on 3rd Street, so it was, you know, it wasn't a nice area, but, you know. But I don't know how she, you know, bought the place. I don't know how she, you know, started there. But the last time we went back, my brother didn't have that place. He got another place. That place, I don't know, he sold it or what, I don't know.
Well, they had to do everything, iron every piece by hand too, you know. And she did that all herself. You can imagine ironing with just a little iron, you know.
Yeah. Didn't have the steam or anything, was it?
Didn't have those big, long pressing things. I remember the laundry was painted green outside, wasn't it?
That dark green, yeah.
Boy, I could see the picture of that. It's so old.
It was still there when we went back last time, wasn't it?
No, there's nothing there. It's just a parking lot, remember? It's just a parking lot.
Parking, oh.
Mm-hmm. And don't you remember, you said, this used to be where the wash machine was at. You were pointing at the place. Yeah, it's nothing, but I don't know, nobody even built on it all these years, you know. It's still just a vacant lot.
Yeah, because there was a big fence back there because I had to hang the clothes out, you know. Hang the clothes out, and it still had, you know, those like strings through here and all that.
Yeah, life was pretty hard at first, the first half of our lives. Then you appreciate whatever you have.